Yeah, hello. We'll take a project management approach to prepare for PMP or to master PMBOK. So, whenever I teach project management, especially PMBOK, I like to take the route of initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and controlling, and closing, because that is the natural flow of a project. The PMBOK is organized knowledge area wise, like integration management, scope management, time management, cost management, procurement management, communications management, quality management, stakeholder management. It is very difficult because it is very difficult to recollect this because logically we'll not be able to connect. But if you go by the process group wise, that will give us a logical or a natural progression of a project. Like first we initiate a project, then we plan in detail, then execute the project as per the plan. Then during execution, we monitor and control, and then we close. And closing happens at the end of every phase as well as at the end of the project itself. So in this session, uh, I want to first of all break the PMBOK uh, in the process group wise, and along with that, I've identified the deliverables that is coming out of it. And during the this session, we'll give some weightages based on the importance and the complexity. We'll give some weightages. The higher the weightage means you'll have to spend more time, and it is more critical for project management as well as from the exam perspective. Lesser the weightage means it is very easy to understand, or and it is not that significant when it comes to your PMP certification. So I prepared this document, so I'll share the document with you, and then let us go through the document. So here, as we discussed, we'll go by the first process group is initiation, um, and within initiation we develop project charter, and a chart output is the project charter. Then second process under initiation is identifying the stakeholders, and that gives the output of stakeholder register. Initiation is done by the sponsor, and as discussed earlier, during this phase, the charter is created, project manager is appointed, and the project manager takes the project into the planning phase. And first thing it does is develop a project management plan, and the output of that process is the project management plan. Then it gets into plan scope management. The outputs are scope management plan and requirements management plan. Then it gets into collect requirements. The outputs are requirements documentation and requirements traceability metrics. Then define scope is the next process in planning. Two outputs comes out, that is plan scope statement, the project scope statement, and project documents updates. Once the scope is defined, that gets decomposed into a work breakdown structure. And here the outputs are the scope baseline and the project documents updates. The scope baseline includes the work breakdown structure as well. The next process in planning is plan scope management, and the output is a scope management plan. Then define, once the scope is defined, the scope gets decomposed into activities, and the outputs are the activity lists, activity attributes, and the milestone list. And once we know the activities, then based on the logical relationships, we sequence those activities, and we get the project schedule, network diagrams, and the project document updates. Because while doing the network diagrams, sometimes you may go back and work on the work breakdown structure, which has an impact on the scope, which may have an impact on the schedule, which may have an impact on the budget, which necessitates sometimes even the project charter updates or the project plan updates. So once the activities are sequenced, next is activity resource estimation. And the outputs are activity resource requirements, resource breakdown structure, and project documents updates. Any document can get updated in this process. Then estimate activity durations. Here we are talking about the number of days it is going to take. So outputs are the activity duration estimates and the project documents updates. Once we know the activities, next is develop schedule. So we get the schedule baseline, project schedule and schedule data, project calendars, project management plan updates, and project document updates. So these are the documents or the outputs that develop schedule process triggers. Then plan cost management. The output is a cost management plan. Then estimate costs. We get the activity cost estimates, basis for estimates, and project documents updates. Then once we know the cost of every activity, then we can determine the budget, and which includes the outputs are a cost baseline, project funding requirements, and project documents updates. The next is plan quality management. The outputs are quality management plan, process improvement plan, quality metrics, quality checklists, and project document updates. Then human resource management. The human resource management plan comes out. See, this we'll be able to appreciate when the team size is very big. If you talk about if you're dealing with a 5-member, 10-member teams all working from the same location, maybe a human resource management plan required, but may not be that significant. And the moment you are managing a multi-locational team comprising of 500 plus members, then all these things becomes very critical. And then plan communications management plan. The outputs are communications management plan and project documents updates. Then we get into risk management. Output is the risk management plan. Plan risk management, the output is a risk management plan. Then we identify the risk, we get a risk register. Then we do a qualitative risk analysis, we do project documents updates. Then we do a quantitative risk analysis, again project documents updates happens. Then plan risk responses. The output is a project management plan updates and project procurements updates. Then plan procurements. We have a procurements management plan coming out of it, a procurement statement of work, procurement documents, source selection criteria, make or buy decisions, change requests, project documents updates, everything happens. And the last process in planning is plan stakeholder management. The outputs are stakeholder management plan and project document updates. So likewise, so with this we complete planning, then we get into execution. Execution is pretty easy because it is the do of the plan. So the maximum effort gets into understanding the planning process group. And after that, execution becomes easier because execution is nothing but do the plan. So most of the concepts are covered in planning. So execution becomes easier. So then comes the monitoring and controlling. Here, the earned value management is the key thing. All others are slightly not that relevant from the exam point of view. Then we get into closing. Now, so our course, when I teach project management, it goes by initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing, because that gives a better flow. To summarize, Uh, the PMBOK comprises of a set of processes grouped into 10 knowledge areas and 5 process groups of initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing. For ease of understanding and for ease of recollection, my recommendation is to understand PMBOK process group wise. That is, first we initiate a project. The sponsor does the initiation. The first thing it does is develop project charter. And through the charter, he appoints a project manager. Then he identifies the stakeholders. Then the next step is planning. The project manager guides the project into the planning phase. And the first thing it does in the planning phase is develop project management plan, followed by collect requirements, define scope, then decomposing the scope into a work breakdown structure, then decomposing the work packages into activities, then activity sequencing based on the logical dependencies, then activity resource estimation, and develop the schedule. There we have to understand things like critical path, uh, float, slack, dependencies. By applying all these things onto the activities, we arrive at the activity sequence and the schedule. And once the schedule is done, please ensure that you have taken care of things like quality related activities, scope related activities, risk related activities, communications related activities, human resource related activities. All these things should be part of your schedule. Otherwise, your plan is incomplete. And once the plan is done, then we get into execution, which is nothing but executing the project as per the schedule. And we do the monitoring and controlling throughout the project. And whenever we see a deviation from the scope, we have to take corrective actions so that the project ends successfully. So we keep monitoring and controlling the project throughout. And we have formal closure that is at the end of every phase and as well as at the end of the project itself. So this way, this gives the natural progression of a project, and it becomes very easy to logically understand and recollect, and sometimes it's easy to practice as a project manager. Once I was introduced before the start of a training program, I was introduced to the crowd like the introducer said, Abhi is a highly committed trainer because if the scheduled completion time is 5:30, he can even go up to 7 o'clock if there is a need. And he was portraying it as commitment. But actually, I felt as if it is my inefficiency because at least while teaching project management, we should be able to meet things on time. That is, if the training has to start at 9:30, it should start at 9:30. And if you have promised people to end it by 5:30, it should end by 5:30. And at the same time, we should meet the scope. Then only we can call it as a successful training. So then I started applying the project management principles, which I preach to my classroom sessions. And this is exactly what I did or are still doing. At the beginning of the classroom training, we create a breakdown, a product breakdown structure of the entire training content. We estimate it. Then we create a plan, and then a very rude plan on a whiteboard using yellow stickies, and then we try to adhere to it. And the beauty is every training gets over on time. and with absolute coverage of the promised or the assured contents. So let us do a kind of prioritization of the PMBOK contents. So I'll share the screen again. Now, develop project charter on a. I'll give it. It is a. It is very critical. It is very critical because this is the foundation and the starting point of a project. So I think it is important, and we need to spend some time. So I'll give this weightages based on this Fibonacci series of 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, maybe 13 also. So the higher the number uh, is more critical, and we need to spend more time. So for this, I'll give a weightage of maybe 5. Then identify stakeholders. We come out with a stakeholder register, and then there is stakeholder prioritization and all those things. So for this, I'll give a weightage of 3. Develop project management plan. Yeah, this is because all other things put together, we get the project management plan. So develop project management plan per se, we need not spend a lot of effort to understand. So let us give it a 2. Then requirements management plan, a lot of tools and techniques need to be covered. So I'll give it a 5. Then collect requirements. So this I'll give 3, and this also I'll give a 3. So put together it is a 6. Then define scope, maybe a 2. Work breakdown structure, we need to, it is very critical because slowly we are getting into time management. So from the time management, we get around 45 questions. So things must be very, very clear. So create work breakdown structure. I'll give it as a weightage of 8. Plan schedule management. Yes, this is just a 2. Define activities, maybe another 3. Sequence activities, we need to spend a lot of time here understanding activity on arrow diagrams, activity on node diagrams, critical path, all those things. So I'll give it a 8. Estimate activity resources could be a 3. Estimate activity durations could be another 3. Develop schedule could be a 8. Plan cost management, this I'll give a 1. An estimate cost could be a 2. Determine budget could be a 2. Quality management, plan quality management could be a 5 because a lot of concepts need to be understood here, like the 7 QC tools. Then plan human resource management plan. Yeah, so this is a 1. Then plan communications management could be a 2. So this I'll make it 2. Plan risk management. Okay, this is a 3. Identify risks could be a 2. Qualitative risk analysis could be another 2. Quantitative risk analysis could be another 2. Plan risk responses could be another 2. Procurement management, if you don't have a background in pre-sales, and procurement, then we need to spend a lot of effort here to understand, because a lot of new concepts will come in. So procurement management, I'll give a weightage of 5. Plan stakeholder management is very interesting as well. So we'll give a weightage of maybe 3. Execution, direct and managed project execution, let it be a 2. Perform quality assurance, maybe a 3. Acquire project team could be a 2. Develop project team could be another 2. Manage project team could be another 2. Manage communications could be another 2. Conduct procurements should be another 2. Manage stakeholder engagement could be another 2. Monitoring and controlling. Monitor and control project work, that is a 2. Perform integrated change control, a 2. Validate scope is a 2. Control scope is a 2. Control schedule is a 5. And control cost is a 5, because the concepts of earn value and all those things comes in here. Control quality could be a 2. Control communications is a 2. Control risk is a 2. And control procurements is a 2. Control stakeholder engagement is a 2. Closing is easy, so this is maybe a 2, and this is another 2. So put together the grand total. Grand total works out to be 5 plus 3, 8, 10, 13, 13 plus 3, 16, 16 plus 2, 18, 18 plus 8, 26, 28, 28 plus 3, 31, 31 plus 8, 39, 39 plus 3, 42, 42 plus 3, 45, 45 plus 8 is 53, 54, 56, 58, 58 plus 5, 63, 65, 67, 70, 72, 72 plus 2, 74, 74, 76, 78, 78 plus 5, 83, 86, 86 plus 2, 88, 88 plus 3, 88 plus 3 is 91, 93, 95, 97, 99, 101, 103, 105, 107, 109, 111, 116, 116 plus 5 is 121, 123, 125, 125, 127, 29, 129 plus 2, 131, 133, and 135. So total we get 135 points to be covered. 135, yeah, maybe points to be covered in 35 hours time. So that is the there is a target. So this document I'll share with you. So the higher the weightage, higher the focus should be. Lower the weightage, we need not focus too much there. So if I'm conducting this training, maybe in 35 hours time, I should complete this 135 uh, units, 135 points to, I should make it 0 in 35 hours time. So that is the equation. So this gives me a better clarity. This is a kind of a product breakdown structure or a work breakdown structure for the PMBOK PMBOK learning, and this brings in a lot of clarity. So in the subsequent sessions, we'll build on this further. So my objective was, yeah. So my objective was to bring in clarity into the whole process. So if you have understood what all things gets into the syllabus of mastering PMBOK, and the kind of weightages or to focus, and if you get some insights into a product breakdown structure slash work breakdown structure, then this hangout is complete. So that is the value intended, and we'll build on this further in the future sessions. Thank you very much.